Hello everyone, Johnny Minder here, and today we are continuing to learn Japanese with Pokémon FireRed. Not Tomodachi Live, just because I put it in. Last time we continued the Viridian Forest. We didn't finish it, unsurprisingly, considering that we also, lucky enough, because I wanted to do to get it, we found and got and caught Pikachu. So today we'll continue Viridian Forest. This time we could finish it, we'll see. Without further ado, let's start. Okay. We have 7 Pokemon, the caught ones in the Pokédex as shown here. We bought some Pokeballs, went out of the forest, bought some antidotes, went out of the forest again. And we saved right at its entrance once more. So we can now enter it. To see again this intro. Okay. Let's go to the right here again. Completely forgetting how you get a certain something, but we'll see. We've already tackled all these trainers. We were around here when we found Pikachu. And by the way, I went back other than to here also to get Pikachu. We continue to train our Pokemon here, especially Bulbasaur, Mankey, a little also Pikachu here since it's our lowest level Pokemon. Even Caterpie that we of course left in the box, considering that we have already Weedle. To have more variety in our current team. I think it's also level 4 like Weedle, but we'll see. Pidoru, okay, in Japanese. Okay, funny enough, no wild Pokemons there, but let's tackle, this one we haven't charmed yet. I think it would turn around, but if he didn't, we talked to him. He says, Pokemon ga shinka suru tte kimi shitteru? Pretty easy. First and foremost, we have Pokemon, of course. Subject particle ga shinka. I think we have actually I'm not so sure we have actually seen it already. It's quite an important term for Pokemon because Shinka is a Chinese compound, accent on the first mora, yes it is, so the second most common accent for those, which means evolution. The Ka, by the way, we have actually already studied because it's the one for change. On as a verb on its own to take the form of Bakeru and so on, but usually in compounds change more in general. And the Shin, by the way, is the one for the verb. It's strictly Japanese reading is Susumu, which we have already seen before, means to advance. Literally advance advance and change, or advanced change while advancing. it's actually the term for evolution, so yeah, quite a fundamental term for Pokemon. Noun, as usual, for these Chinese compounds, we can turn it into a verb by adding suru, to do, cioè literally to do evolution, to evolve. And then we have the particle te, which we have already seen. A casual quoting particle can straight up simply replace to, which is the regular quoting particle. We could say with, and then the quotation. Also consider the other meanings of to. Or the te could replace to you, cioè to with then the verb you, to say, to you know what. As for saying, and then the quotation, and so on. But yeah, then we have kimi, second person singular pronoun, so yeah, you in the singular. Familiar language, this one, sometimes considered also male language. Of course, someone of equal or lower status. Unaccented, kimi we have already seen before. And then shiteru, from shiru, to know, or to get to know, we could say, considering its usage, like you can see here technically. Or we could say to know, as in then one of its extended meanings is like to learn of, to find out. So you can see why I said then to get to know in a way. But yeah, unaccented, u verb, godan verb, despite being in iru. So be careful, because most verbs in iru and eru are ru verbs, instant verbs. It's how you can easily tell, except that there are some verbs, u verbs, godan verbs, which are also like that. You can tell then, if you have to use them yourself, you have unfortunately to straight up remember them. But here it can be straight up seen because of the conjugation. In this case, to make the te form, we have to follow the rules being a u verb. So yeah, originally we changed the u into i to make the continuative form shirite, but then most likely the i fell. So yeah, shirte, difficult to pronounce, simply doubling of the following consonant. Yeah, instead of simply dropping the ru of the ru verbs to make the continuative form and then attach the te. So yeah, that's why. That's how you can immediately tell. Te form required because then we had ru, so actually iru simply contracted. Iru on its own, to be, as in to exist, of animate things, people and animals. After the form of verbs, it has two meanings: continuing action or state, cioè be doing the action of the verb in te, or have, add, whatever the verb in te says. So it's actually used also with this verb. Yeah, more than to know, exactly because of this usage, would be to get to know, to learn of. Because in this case, have you learned? So in the sense you already know. But yeah, share that. Last but not least, the question mark. So instead of using the regular final sentence particle for questions, ka, we all have the intonation shown here by the question mark. But yeah, as you actually notice that apart from the ga for Pokemon and the te, which although that one is a casual coating particle, so makes sense also considering that. I noticed that other particles that could be used are missing, for example, Kimi without a particle and so on, so yeah. Unsurprising then also the interrogative particle is gone. Yeah, this is when speaking more casually. Yeah, so it's pretty easy. Do you know, actually, have you got to know, have you learned of that, and then the quotation, Pokemon evolve. Oh yeah. So that. And yeah, as usual, the trainer class is the same. Still, we have these insect bug catching boys. This one called Manabu. So yeah, actually, Manabu is the verb we have seen. You see always, conjugated in our case, in the title of this Let's Learn Japanese with episodes in Japanese. But yeah, Manabu means to learn, to study. Yeah, so because of that. Being a verb, I think, if I recall correctly, the rules that I've seen should be unaccented as a given name. But yeah, we'll see. I might check it again at some point. But yeah, the usual then challenge to so on. Has 3 Pokemon. Pikachu is quite at risk despite being would be a nice battle for well, to an extent. Well, actually, I'll give it a try, because actually this one is a good attacker here. Because yeah, as we'll see soon enough, of course, use the usual Katakunaru should be hardened. But yeah, by using our attack here with Pikachu, you might notice again, yeah, we took out the same amount of damage, because yeah, here we didn't have the physical special split yet. That got introduced in Gen 4. So yeah, electric type moves should always be special. Yeah, we can also see it here proven that, because yeah, we keep on dealing the same amount of damage. Yeah, it's not affected by the increase of the defense here with Katakunaru. Hey, you can increase your defense as much as you want, but yeah, you are not doing anything. Ooh, perfect. This, we haven't seen it before. I hope... well, we want a fish for it. We'll try to defeat it with the next hit. I would like to see the effect of this at some point, but yeah. Whenever it happens, naturally. But yeah, by using that attack, we actually got this. It says, Aite no toranseru wa mahishite waza ga deki de ni kuku natta. Yeah. First and foremost, we have the usual Aite no toranseru, in this case. We check out the name of Metapod when we evolve our Caterpie. Transel here. But we'll see it more in detail. But yeah, the usual structure, opponent, possessive particle, name of the Pokemon, topic particle where it has a ha. Then we have the term mahi, which we have already seen thanks to the trainer school. It means to be paralysis, numbness, more. Also, should be accented on the first mora, if I recall correctly. It is, yeah, as usual, another Chinese compound. And again, yeah, a noun, we can turn it into a verb by adding suru. Suru is completely irregular, so we have to remember that its continuative form is si, and then we simply attach the. In that sense, luckily, suru works like ruverbs, incident verbs, as in, yeah, you simply attach the te to the continuative form without further changes. But yeah, what's unfortunate is that what the continuative form of suru is, it's not as easy as ruverbs, incident verbs. There are changes, and that's why it's irregular. But yeah, the form in this case, in its usual meaning, do the action of the verb in te and the rest of the sentence, or by doing, while doing, and so on. The action of the verb in te and after saying what comes after in translation then. Regardless, yeah, we then have waza. We have already seen, we have also straight up studied this kanji in a previous series, Kirby's Adventure again. Yeah, we studied a lot of kanji in that one. Because we found them in game straight up, not also in the title, but also then in game. I didn't expect that, but yeah, waza accent on the last syllable. So actually, in this case, can be heard waza, yeah, low, high, low. Because yeah, as a reminder, the accent of a word in Japanese, the accent is a pitch accent, so it's all a matter of low and high moras, more specifically the beats, as already mentioned. Also, I think last time, they practically correspond, apart from small I, U, E, O, Ya, U, Yo, which go together with the previous one, correspond to the kana symbols, and yeah, beats. They can be same as syllables or smaller, depending on, yeah. But yeah, so yeah, low, high, low, and yeah, the accent is on, means that it's high, the pitch, apart from the rule that the first one is low if the second one is high, and the other way around. First high, second one low. But yeah, apart from that, the accent of words that are accented means that it's high up to including that mora, and then low for everything else. Words accented on the last mora actually sound the same as unaccented ones without, when you don't add a particle, apart from the particle, the possessive particle no, which is an exception, makes words accented on the last mora unaccented. But yeah, with other ones, you can actually then hear the accent, yeah, because yeah, high, and then the following one is low. In the case of accent on the last mora, unaccented keep on being high. So yeah, in this case, low, high, low. Wanted to review that because yeah, it's been some time since we have mentioned it, but it's quite fundamental. And barely anyone speaks about the pitch accent in Japanese, but you can actually hear it if you pay attention. But yeah, wazaga, its meaning is, well, in the case of Pokemon, straight up simply move, more in general, technique, skill, art, technically, again, still in the sense of technique, skill, subject particle ga. And then we have this de nikuku, First, we have the verb deru. We have even studied its kanji. It means to go, come, out, to exit. Ru verb is a verb. So in this case, we can drop the ru to make the continuative form required to then attach the adjective nikui, which means difficult, is used specifically, usually not on its own, but specifically when combining it with other verbs for the meaning hard to do the action or difficult to do the action of the verb before it. Technically becomes a compound here, and that's why, by the way, we use the continuative form. Being an E adjective, we can then drop the E and replace and then add ku to make its continuative form, or we could also call it adverbial form. In this case, required because we added the verb naru. Naru means to become. And yeah, it's used with these adverbial forms of E adjectives or also na adjectives. Technically also with an E for nouns to become whatever that adjective and so on is. Naru is a U verb, Godan verb, so yeah, to make the ta form. The ta form is conjugated just like the te form. We have to follow the rules. It's in ru, so it becomes, again, we say, we've already seen one, I think, but yeah, again, the usual is change the u into e to make the continuative form. Narita, drop the, but then the e fell, so narta, difficult to pronounce, double consonant ta. But yeah. Ta form, so actually the past form of the verb in plain speech. And so yeah, here it says simply the opponent metapod, as for the opponent metapod, it got paralyzed, it got numb, and I'd say actually in this case technically, and so implied its techniques is, well, in terms of Pokemon, its moves have become more difficult to come out. So yeah, it's more difficult for its moves to come out. So yeah, it got paralyzed, and there's also the explanation of what that does. Yeah, we can go back to the game. I noticed that the icon there says straight up Mahi, simply with also the color. Yeah. I straight up use the attack here. Would have been nice to see the Metapod try to attack and then fail to see what that says, but we'll see it eventually. Got a lot of experience by doing that, yeah, surprising level 7 Metapod. Also evolved Pokemon, as we have already seen before. So already level 5. We have a Caterpie. Okay, let's try. As much as Pikachu is nice, I'd say let's go to Mankey, which we want to train in particular for what comes after the forest. If you have already played the game, any Gen 1 games, mainline games, you know what's coming, so yeah. Everyone else will see. Lucky is using these instead of attacking, because I'm worried about attacks especially. Taco should have Caterpie if I recall correctly. Yeah, here it is. Okay, not a lot. It's worth mentioning that Caterpie isn't the strongest. there isn't even stab, same type attack bonus. Not even for us, but yeah, Mankey is clearly stronger when it comes to physical attack, being a fighting Pokemon, fighting type. So we're actually doing pretty well. Oh yeah, so we can use one more and the Caterpillar goes down. So all this experience, yeah, notice same level but less than the Metapod because it's of course a base Pokemon, base stage Pokemon. Oh, and finally we learned this category. Yeah, the usual structure. As for Mankey, it learned more specifically would be memorize the verb, but yeah, Tiny also used simply to learn. And we have this attack category. I wonder if I'll find it as is. In the yeah, I could find it because yeah, technically it's even though I could have come up with its meaning based on that it's a compound. If it weren't clear enough already with the Guri, yeah, when you see those longer words have 4 more as so yeah, relatively longer than other ones. With a voiced consonant in the middle, yeah, you can start supposing, not always, but yeah, it's there is a chance that it's a compound, usually of strictly Japanese origin, and it is in this case because that's when you get the second word part of the compound. Actually, here we technically have 3. Unless you can use Keta on its own, I have doubts, but we'll check. But yeah, Kuri is the final part of the compound, and so actually gets voiced. The Ku becomes Ku with the addition of the Duck 10. But yeah, this compound. Let me actually see if Keta. I have doubts. Yeah, no, I don't think it can be used on its own. There's another one, but yeah, it's not related. There's another one with the same kanji at first, but then it changes, so yeah, no. But yeah, actually, it uses first and foremost the kanji of Kairu. Kairu is, let me actually find its accent. It means to kick. Nowadays accented, okay. And yeah, as mentions also the dictionary there, originally it was an Ichidan verb, and this is why in this compound we can find it as ke. Nowadays it actually has become a U verb, Kodan verb. But yeah, it doesn't matter for us here, but be careful because yeah, you see it as kette for its the form, because yeah, it has become a Kodan verb. Yeah, here we simply have ke for its origin. The ta, funny enough, we already know. We've studied even its kanji. It's the one for hand. But yeah, you might not have thought of it first, because actually the pronunciation used usually on its own is te accented, because that's actually the form used nowadays on its own. In compounds we can find this alternative form in a, and yeah, that actually happens for other words of strictly Japanese origin. So yeah, be careful. But yeah, this is why. So we have a kick, hand, And then we have this Kuri here, but yeah, from Kuri. You might remember it because we have actually seen it. It comes from a verb, surprisingly, with that E at the end. Kuru, which you have seen already on its own. It means to reel, to wind, to spin, a thread. And then actually several extended meanings. Here I'd say none especially relevant here. Yeah, let's keep in mind only the fundamental meaning, to reel, to wind, to spin technically also. We can do verb, code and verb, so yeah, we change the U into E to make the conjunctive form. And so the corresponding noun, reeling, winding, spinning. So you might have guessed that we have kicking. Hand, I'd say hand might be actually simply in the sense of hit. What's the other term? Let me actually check with another term that usually is even more appropriate. You might have heard of it if you have heard terms, Japanese terms of moves in manga and so on. I'm thinking of yeah, no, there it gives me that meaning. Yeah, not in the sense of hit here, move. But yeah, my guess is that more in that sense here. And then, of course, the reeling, winding, spinning. So actually, this category, unfortunately, can't. Okay, no, actually, it's present the accent with the plugin. Unaccented, so be careful. It's one of these compounds that becomes unaccented instead of following the usual rules we have seen for compounds. It's a sumo term. In particular, it's pulling inside ankle sweep. So yeah, you can see why. Then we have that K at the start. The reeling, winding, spinning. And yeah, I guess the tam is more in the sense of a move in this case, but regardless, that's the meaning. Let me actually. I wanted to. Let me quickly search for it, because in this case I would like to. Okay, yeah. Unsurprisingly, then it shows up immediately here. The English term for this attack, as soon as it. Okay, I think issues there because of that. No, let's avoid this one, which wasn't even the one I was looking. Trying to check. Okay, no, it is actually the one I wanted, but with the usual stuff here that because I wanted to mention the English name if I can find it. Yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't immediately come to mind. I actually think it might have been changed with a more random one, actually, in this case. No, I think, yeah, no, it should simply be also consider the description we've seen. Low kick. Oh yeah, okay, it's a low kick. Yeah, it came to mind, and while I was trying to open it, oh yeah. sorry for that, and especially if we got some issues due to the technical limitations. But yeah, so we learned that, unfortunately, well, it's a good movie, but it depends on the context, as you might know already, but we'll see it. But yeah, at least we have a fighting move, finally. Okay, we have another Metapod, so actually let's send again our Pikachu. In this case, as we have seen, it actually is pretty good for this. Okay, perfect. Oh yeah, we'll go again for some Thunder Shocks, I think. There we got a critical hit, so but fantastic that we even got a good start there. We make it faster, this fight. Yeah, of course, it took some time since we had some things to check. We are getting a lot of experience again. So level 6 for Pikachu. We get a Tail Whip in Japanese. Simply, we have already seen it. The swinging way. Let me actually find a better translation for that. Of the tail. Yeah, it's the. Yeah, no, swinging could work. Wave can also be technically. But yeah. As a reminder, Furu, this one is unaccented. Yeah, then we have the usual Shippo tail. Funny enough, we have seen it once before, twice before. Once I missed it, couldn't see it in time. Shippo is, by the way, accented on the last Mora. Only saw Shippo, but yeah, then we saw it already, and so fully explained its and then yeah, this one simply says Makechatta. Yeah, from Makeru. Actually, no, I think it might be accented. We have seen it once. It's again actually the same kanji as the one for Shobu. Literal victory or defeat. So defeat in our case here. And then by extension becomes match, battle in the case of Pokemon. Makeru, no, okay, unaccented, so actually I remember correctly first. Verb is some verb, so yeah, we can simply drop the Ru to make the conjugative form, and then add the Te to make the Te form. To then add Shimau. Shimau, unaccented, means to end, finish. Usually, when used with the Te form of a verb, it has two meanings. One can be to finish, as in do completely. The other one, which is actually the most common one, let's say, is end up doing by accident and so on. The action of the verb, yeah, like in this case, Shimau, verb godan verb, so to make the form we have to follow the rules. It's in U, so it actually originally was in Pu. So in old kana, in historical kana, was actually written Fu. But yeah, was Pu, so we changed the U into I, Shimapita, then the I fell, again Shimapta, difficult to pronounce, again simply doubling of the following consonant. And then here we have this contraction, so yeah, Makete Shimata, in this case. Te Shi becomes first Chi, Make Chimata, which is another contraction you will eventually see. Because it's actually still used. But yeah, then the most common one here that further contracts it, Chimata in this case, becomes simply cha. So yeah, I lost. I ended up losing, specifically. Let's see what he says after. He says, Mushi Pokémon wa Shinka ga hayaku te tanoshii yo na. And yeah, first we have the Mushi Pokémon, cioè insect bug Pokémon. Mushi, insect or bug, unaccented. We've already seen it thanks to other, because we have already caught bug Pokémons ourselves also, other than other NPCs, as we have seen. Topic particle, Shinka again, so evolution. Subject particle ga. Hayakute from Hayai. Well, technically in this case we could say it's the one we've studied its kanji. Because there are two kanji for Hayai. The one we study usually is with the meaning early, soon. Technically then in some contests, depend earlier than usual. Because actually the adjectives in Japanese technically can be used with a comparative meaning without any additions. So in that sense, the other one, and that's the one we have already studied, it's kanji. The other one means more in general, actually fast, quick, rapid. Yeah, so actually in this case, the translation of early, technically earlier than usual. In this case, we could say that the comparison is other kinds of Pokemon. The implied comparison. And yeah, we then can, to make the form, we drop the E, add Q. To make the continuative form, and yeah, that's why it's worth keeping in mind that actually the Q form of E adjectives is technically a continuative form, because it's also used here, as you can see, to then attach immediately the te to make the form. The accent should move. Hayai is accented. In its base form, dictionary form, is the accent is on the second to last mora. When conjugated into ku in its continuative form, it moves on the third to last mora. So yeah, hayakute should be. By the way, the u of ku is barely heard, if at all, because it's between voice consonants. And the same actually applied to the nikukte. We have seen before, I didn't mention it. But yeah. Although in that case it's weird. Yeah, no, I think that should apply. There we had an example technically of two following moras that would have their vowels barely heard, if at all, because they're between voice consonants. Usually you keep only one where they are immediately one after the other. I guess you would keep still the kte. But yeah, regardless, the form, yeah, again, it's usually that and the rest. Here in this case to combine more than one adjective. Because after it we have tanoshi. Tanoshi means fun, enjoyable, delightful, pleasant, happy technically, but yeah. The fundamental meaning, I'd say, is enjoyable, fun. Also accented, tanoshi. Last but not least, we have yo. As the we have two final sentence particle. Yo, the one which usually its meaning is adds certainty or emphasis. The translation I use myself is you know. in other cases also hey. And then we have this na, the usual one that, funny enough, can also have the meaning of yo. Here, clearly not the same, so actually I think it I'd say most likely like replacing ne, which means right, or the na, usually with a longer vowel, more of a wow. I think maybe the right actually with the meaning makes more sense technically. Thank you, Charlie7. Yeah. Funny enough, we won't be catching any Pokemon today, I think, because we should have got, well, apart from the evolution, but I want to evolve them to avoid issues. But yeah, we are definitely making them fight. Yeah, the usual stuff of Pokemon games. Yeah, the translation. Yeah, of course, nice to see you here. Thank you. But yeah. As I was saying, the translation then simply becomes as for insect Pokemon. Their evolution is faster, we could also simply say, or earlier than usual. And so, I'd say that Tanoshi applies to the Mushi Pokemon in general. And so, they're fun. You know, I'd still keep the translation of yo first and foremost. But yeah, we have checked that out. I'd say it makes the most sense to take our usual break now, so that when we come back in around 5 minutes, most likely slightly less, we then proceed. I can actually show that, yeah, we've already seen such a building before when entering the forest, so you might quickly guess, even if you haven't played this before, what that is. So yeah, we'll go towards that after the break, so yeah, see you then. And we are back. Yeah, so let's continue. Okay. Not too quickly see if... okay, perfect. And yeah, as mentioned before the break, yeah, we want to go towards that to the left. If it weren't clear enough, yeah, to exit the forest. But from another exit. Okay, here to the right we have this. Simply a potion. As we have already seen. No need to check it out again. Actually, we have bought a lot of them in case we needed them to not go back to Viridian City, but we actually had to regardless for the PC and when we were right at the start, so yeah, oh well. We have one of these signs, the usual useful bulletin boards, signs, let's say, then simply in general. The ones with the tips. Oh yeah, here it says, funny enough, okay, I think I guessed already what it's about here. First and foremost, it says hito no Pokemon wa hito no mono. So yeah, first it says hito. Notice the E barely heard if at all, between voiced consonants as usual. Hito, we have even studied its kanji, it means person or people, technically. You can make a specifically plural form, but yeah, in general, words in Japanese can be both singular or plural without necessarily specifying it. But yeah, hito is the fundamental word for person in Japanese. Unaccented should be, yes it is. Then we have the possessive particle no, so of people, Pokemon, cioè people's Pokemon, Pokemon of people, topic particle wa, and then we have hito no again, and last but not least mono. Yeah, we have studied the kanji as well, things as in object, here plural, let's say, to say it in general. So yeah, as for people's Pokemon, they are people's things. In the sense, as we see, because like this it could sound better in a way, but yeah, no, it's in the sense, as we see, that they're there is, yeah, you can't catch them, but yeah, it will be confirmed by the rest here, which says, yeah, actually, it doesn't stop there, by the way. No, actually, it could stop there, technically. We'll see in a second. But yeah, it says, Yase no Pokemon ni dake, Monster Boru o Nagete. And yeah, first we have Yase, the usual, or Yasei, depending on if you still pronounce E as A, or nowadays actually as long E as in standard Japanese, then it can change also depending on the dialects. But yeah, Yase, we have already seen it, Chinese compound, unaccented, like most of those. It means wild. Yeah, again, a noun technically, but that takes the possessive particle to make in practice an adjective, and yeah, wild Pokemon. Yeah, you can see why, again. fundamental term for Pokemon games, wild Pokemon. Then we have the particle ni. Tu. Could say technically 2 words, but yeah, not technically. Better, I'd say actually 2 technically could still work, but also as at. You'll see why it's technically required by the verb. Then we have dake, another particle, which means only, just, simply, and so on. Has also another meaning which isn't this one. That one is the most common one, but there's another one which is still pretty quite used, especially in certain expressions. Dake also can mean as much as, to the extent of, most likely actually from, by extension, instead of only, as in no more than, we get to the extent of, enough to, but yeah, so then, but we see that again when we see it in practice. Here the most common one, the fundamental one, is simply or only, just. Then we have monster boru, Pokeballs, monster balls, literally, term in Japanese. Object particle o, written as one, pronounced as such in careful speech and also singing. Then we have the verb nagete, from nageru. We've seen it already. Again, another term pretty fundamental in Pokemon games, because it means to throw monster balls, throw Pokeballs. Its accent should be accented. Yes, it is. Here we can. It's a verb. It's a verb. So yeah, we can drop the ru, make the continuative form to add then te to make that the form. Technically, it could stop also here. We'll see in a second by pressing the button. If it stops here, I guess there's an implied kudasai, and yeah, it could be. But no, actually, it continues in this case. Perfect. Makes it more sense, but we have seen other cases in which yeah, it could work like that. What I was thinking about that possibility was simply, please throw Pokeballs only at wild Pokemons. Could have worked. But yeah, no, in this case, the form simply in its usual usage. Do the action of the verb in te and the rest of the sentence, or by doing the action of the verb in te. Last but not least, we have Tsukamae yo, another verb fundamental in Pokemon, Tsukamae ru, to catch. Ru verb is a verb, unaccented by the way. So we can drop the ru, add yo u, so actually long yo, to make the evolutional form. Here in its fundamental meaning, the most common one, which is let's. Okay, not sure why that issue there. Let's. So there it says let's throw Pokeballs only at wild Pokemons and catch them. And yeah, so in that sense, people's Pokemons are their people's things. And yeah, in that sense, that yeah, you shouldn't steal them. Yeah, no, it's not Pokemon Colosseum or XD. And even there, there are actually limitations, as we'll eventually see when we play them, because we will eventually play them. I want to play them for the channel for sure. Actually in order, so even more so, yeah, now currently we only have XD, so yeah, no. But yeah, we'll get to it when the time comes. But yeah, so there was that. We can see a trainer already that we actually have a battle here. Level 3 Caterpie. Yeah, no, not the best here. Especially by starting. They won't get much experience, either of them. I won't use, while I actually show quickly here, the type, which you haven't seen it before. The type, the move type, Waza type, is Kakuto. Oh yeah, Kakuto, as you have already guessed, because I've mentioned it. It means fighting, as in the Pokemon type. More specifically, it's a Chinese compound, unaccented, so yeah, like most of those. Which means, more specifically, fight as in a hand-to-hand fight. Grapple, scuffle, tussle. By extension, it becomes also struggling with a problem, task, and so on. Grappling, wrestling, technically. As in, again, grappling and so on. Well, in this case, actually, in the sense, in the figurative sense, so, getting to grips with. Yeah, the fundamental meaning is fight as in hand-to-hand fight, grapple, and so on. But yeah, it's actually the term used in Pokemon games for the fighting type. By the way, I want to mention that we've actually studied already the kanji for To. It's the one we've seen, one of the kanji for, which mean to fight. Also with the strict Japanese reading Tatakau, which means to fight. This one, unfortunately, the less common one, makes sense also considering that it's actually a pretty difficult kanji. We had to study it because, again, it showed up in Kirby's Adventure unexpectedly. But yeah, so yeah, you can see it, and I have this To here for the fight. But yeah, I won't use it. Well, I can actually use it here because we have a level 3 Caterpie to show quickly. Yeah, it's not very effective. Yeah, you don't want to use fighting moves on bug Pokemon. So I will go back to scratch. Oh yeah, that one does a lot, as you can see. So yeah, bye Caterpie. Yeah, not barely any experience, unsurprisingly, level 3 Caterpie. Yeah, so we can actually tackle this other trainer here. And yeah, here, this one says Chottomata, with also the longer vowel, again, because for emphasis, yeah, straight up it would be pronunciation Chottomata, then the exclamation mark. Oh yeah, first we actually have Chotto. That one we have already seen before. It's an adverb. Notice again, technically one with To at the end. Actually, usually double consonant To. Most likely, technically, an onomatopoeia originally. So the To would be the quotation particle with, and then the quotation with a Cho. Also the small Su in that case before, then doubling the following To here, because it's required nowadays straight up. But originally would be, I guess, with a Cho. the small su, when not followed by the anything, is simply a glottal stop. So actually to shorten the previous vowel, so ciò. Yeah, considering that sound, its meaning is actually a little, a bit, slightly. Yeah, ciò to. Actually, this one is accented, should be on the ciò. Yes, it is. There are other ones with this in to, which are unaccented, so be careful. And then we have the verb matta, from matsu to wait to await, accented. Here we have to make the ta form, we have to follow the rules. It's a verb colon verb. It's in su, so actually was originally simply tu. There weren't the changes of the tachi, tsu, te, to row at the time in classical Japanese. So change the u into i, ma, ti, ta, but then they fell matta, and yeah, simply the doubling of the following consonant. Ta form of the verb. So you might think it's even straight up at the end of the sentence. Simply past form of the verb. Actually, that isn't the case. This is a peculiar usage of the ta form. In practice, in translation, it actually is like an imperative. So in this case, wait a bit, a little, so yeah, wait a second, wait a moment. Actually, I think the origin of this usage, because I actually was confused about it when I learned of it in the first place myself. I don't think I've straight up seen confirmation of it yet. But I think this is actually an abbreviation of the structure ta, ho, ga, i. So yeah, in that case, you make the verb, you change the verb into its ta form, past form of the verb in plain speech. Then you add ho, which is a noun, so actually in would be a verb, or if you straight up have a part before it, a relative clause, a verb in attributive position, or a relative clause then, if you have more than the verb itself. Noun, ho, which means direction, way, side, accented by the way. Accented automatically, you know, the accent can stay on the longer vowel. Ho, u would be, so yeah, simply long. O, so can only stay on the first mora. Ho. We have seen that it's actually used because of that meaning, direction, way, side, one side of a comparison. We've actually seen it more in general, not this peculiar structure expression I'm mentioning, but more in general, the one side of a comparison. We have already seen it in Pokémon Snap, funny enough. Maybe elsewhere, but that immediately comes to mind. So yeah, that. Then we have the subject particle ga, and then i, which is a adjective, which means good, nice, and several similar other meanings, but yeah, the fundamental one is simply good. So yeah, literally that this expression would be the side, figuratively, technically in this case actually, of having done the action of the verb, is good. So yeah, it's actually used to say you should as one of the ways to say for recommendations. Funny enough, well, makes sense to do a negative one, so yeah, you should not do something. You simply use the verb in its negative form, but in the present. So actually, present can be used then also as a simple future in Japanese. So yeah, actually, because in the case of the positive, you want to have done the action of the verb. In the negative, you don't want to do it. You shouldn't do it in the future. So yeah, that's why. But we'll see it again when it shows up fully. But yeah, my guess is that this form actually comes from that. That would explain why we would use a past form of the verb technically as a quote-unquote imperative, even though it isn't practically, technically. But yeah, when used here, then without the rest, usually it's kind of like an imperative. So yeah, wait a moment. And then it says, Sonna isoide doko ni iku. First, we have Sonna. We have actually seen it before. It's a contraction of the expression sono yona. First, we have sono, part of the Kosoado series, ko close to both the speaker and the listener, so far from the speaker, close to the listener, a far from both. Do, the interior of the Koso are usually unaccented. Do accent on do itself. With no, we get the demonstrative adjective that, something. Something which is yo in our case here. A word which means form, style, design. So actually in this case would be that kind. Then na adjective, so that's why it has na then. It gets contracted then and becomes sono yo na becomes simply sonna, unaccented still. So yeah, sonna means that kind of, followed by something. In this case though, not. Because yeah, while technically originally sono yo na, the na is required simply to then attach it to a following noun. With sonna, to make the adverb, we actually it became a word on its own, sonna, despite its origin. So to make the adverbial form, we actually add ni to it, sonna ni. Technically we shouldn't, because sono yo, then we should add ni immediately. But yeah, nowadays sonna has become straight up a word, so it follows we add ni to it. Here is implied. But yeah, clearly, based on the context, yeah, we want an adverb here. It's straight up before a verb, as we'll see in a second. So yeah, instead of simply that kind of followed by a noun, we have like that, so much. But yeah, the following verb is isoide. The verb is isogu. We check its accent. I don't think, not sure if we have seen it before. If so, barely. Accent, okay, isogu means to hurry, to rush, to hasten, and so on. To make something happen sooner, technically. Fundamental meaning to hurry. Verb, codant verb, so yeah, to make the form, we have to follow the rules. It's in gu, so it becomes ide, because first we would change the u into i, isogi te, but then the i fell, sorry, actually the G fell, and so only the E remained in this case. But the G actually influenced the following Te, which became voiced. It's worth mentioning that voiced consonants in classical Japanese were actually also prenasalized. Here it doesn't particularly matter, but as we have seen with other forms of the, with other kinds of Te, the Te form of other U verbs, codon verbs, it does. But yeah, here you can simply remember we had G, which was voiced, it influenced the Te, which became also voiced, and so becomes Te. But yeah, the E remained actually in this case. Again, Te form in its usual meanings. Do the action of the verb and the rest of the sentence by doing the action of the verb. I'd say most likely actually that in this case. After it we have Doko, yeah, and again part of the Kosodo series. With the Ko it becomes well, with Do the interrogative, so which place, so actually then simply where, accent on the Do itself again. Particle ni, so towards, and yeah, used with a verb of movement, one of the typical ones here, iku, to go, unaccented. Again, actually here we see technically a present better used. While in the translation then we have to adapt it, because yeah, we would say where are you going? We don't have any be doing form here in Japanese. We simply have a present. At most we could say used as a simple future. Regardless, in translation of course we have to adapt it. Where are you going? While actually while could work in this case. While hurrying so much, hurrying like that. Yeah, actually we wanted to technically do that. Okay, here we have again insect bug catching boy. This one called Tatsuhiro. Yeah, hero is actually used as a suffix for names of as suffixes of male given names. But yeah, we won't focus on it, on the names. And yeah, then the usual structure, so can continue. This one sends a widow, so yeah, in this case I would actually prefer to send our Bulbasaur here. So I should train other Pokemon, not a Pikachu here. The next one we might send someone else, but yeah. We want to send Bulbasaur here to avoid, if it's actually the case, and I think it is also based on the what we have seen so far, that poison Pokemon, and Bulbasaur is also poison other than clearly grass, can be poisoned. Oh yeah, well actually I use these also, so that we can heal in part. Notice that this is a really strong Weedle, level 9. Weirdly enough, because yeah, usually at such a level unless you intentionally stopped the evolution, or I found it already at that level, but actually for now, for us it's impossible. Yeah, some trainers, not sure if they got adapted in this version, but in the in FireRed there are straight up some Pokémons that shouldn't be possible based on the ones you can encounter. So the CPUs are cheating there. But yeah, no, in this case they could have simply stopped the evolution. But yeah, should already be a Kakuna at this point. But yeah. Actually not good for us in a way that it's still a bit of, because we'll get less experience than if it were a Kakuna. Of course it's less strong, so that's why. Yeah, honestly, between the two, honestly, would have prepared the additional experience at this point. I wouldn't have made particularly a difference. Actually, it was the only Pokemon. Yeah, then this one says Maita. This is an expression. I wonder if I find it straight up as is in the dictionary. Yeah, I found it. We'll mention it in a second. It comes from the verb mairu. Accented. In this case, actually, notice that the accent I mentioned is on the ma, the first mora, mairu. Not typical of verbs. The accent of accented verbs is on the second to last mora, like the adjectives. But in this case, it actually moves because ai is considered a diphthong. So yeah, then it can stay on the second vowel of the diphthong, so actually moves on the first one. But yeah, mairu means, well, its fundamental meanings are to go, to come, also to call technically. It's actually used as the humble form of those verbs. Okay, no, in this case actually it has another meaning, which is to be defeated, to collapse, technically to die also, but yeah, more in general, simply to be defeated or to collapse. And it's used like that in this case. You could have also guessed by the context, but yeah, it's a verb, codon verb, so we can change. Notice that again, another one that is in iru, but actually isn't a verb, it's a verb, it's a verb codon verb, so yeah, another one to remember. So yeah, to make the form, we have to follow the rules. It's in rules, so it becomes double consonant ta. Yeah, this is, my ta is used straight up as an expression to mean that I'm beaten, I give up, you've got me there, touche also. But yeah, strictly speaking, technically, I'm beaten. Actually, I have been, I was beaten, because yeah, it's theta form of a verb, so yeah, past form in plain speech. But yeah, I have been beaten, could also say. So yeah, so that. Then he says, Kimi wa tsuyoi na. So yeah, Kimi again, you, singular. Topic particle wa, tsuyoi. Strong means accented. Last but not least, again, this na as the final sentence particle. I'd say actually could be in its meaning, its own meaning, wow. In this case. Yeah, Tsuyoi, by the way, accidentally if I haven't mentioned it. But yeah, so it's simply saying then, as for you, you are strong. So you are strong. Wow, you are strong, we could say. But yeah. And we'll get our prize money. Let's see what he has to say in the overworld after being defeated. And yeah, there's actually this. This is a good tip. Weird that technically an NPC that you have to speak, a trainer NPC that you have to speak to again after defeating them. So not the most obvious thing to do. Says, Mienai Tokoro mo, Mienai Tokoro demo, Honto wa nanika otsutatari suru? First and foremost, we have Mienai from Mieru. Technically, you could say a compound verb. Better, as we see, another thing comes from Miru. To see, to look at, to watch. Ru verb is some verb, so we can drop the ru. To then add eru. So technically a compound verb, we could say. Eru on its own means to get, to earn, to acquire, and so on. It's actually used as an auxiliary verb. Actually, the second verb part of a compound. So before it, the continuative form must stem of a verb with the meaning to be able to or can. You can see why from to get, to earn, to acquire. So yeah, actually, most likely, the potential forms of verbs actually derive from this eru, even though nowadays we technically conjugate the verb. Most likely it's actually because of contractions. Yeah, the eru technically seen there comes from that. It's worth mentioning, en passant, we'll see it in practice then. It actually has an alternative form when used actually. Instead of eru, you can find uru. Yeah, that's all because actually of the changes from classical verbs in Japanese to contemporary ones. But yeah, we'll see it when it shows up. So yeah, technically would mean can see, and in a way it can be said, you could say that it's the potential form of miru, but a peculiar one, because yeah, you can actually conjugate it properly to make the potential form, being a verb in ru, an incident verb, it becomes actually mi ra re ru. And by the way, yeah, so you have to change it a lot before adding that mirar for adding the eru of the potential. And that's how you make potential forms of ru verbs, incident verbs. And there's actually a difference in meaning, because that one strictly means simply can see, can watch. This one, mieru, accented by the way, so actually follows the rule, because eru is accented on its own. This one means can see, but actually in the sense to be seen, to be visible. So yeah, there's this distinction. Yeah, regardless, we have it's a ru verb, it's a verb, so we can drop the ru to make the in realis, not yet state form, Nowadays we could simply say negative form because more often than not it's simply used for to add nai, an adjective which means non-existent on its own, and it's used to make the negative form in the present, to make then the past you would need to further conjugate it, of verbs in plain speech. Cioè, isn't visible, can't be seen, isn't in sight. To be in sight is another meaning you can simply guess. So it's still similar from to be visible by extension. After it we have tokoro, it's actually a verb in attributive position. If we had something else, it would be a relative clause. Tokoro, we've already seen it before, unaccented, means spot, place, and so on. Place is the fundamental meaning. Unaccented, tokoro. So places, spots, where you that aren't visible. We'll see in what sense in a second. Then we have demo as a particle, which means even. Yeah, I noticed that technically we have more the inclusive particle, which means also even on its own. Demo is technically stronger. Actually, in origin, most likely is actually the form of the copula, I'd say, and then demo. As seen actually in other structures, but yeah, regardless, as a particle is simply even. Then we have honto, actually an abbreviation because the word, the usual form would be honto with a longer vowel. Yeah, you see it in practice with this abbreviation. Unaccented, it's a Chinese compound, so unsurprising. Honto fundamentally would be a noun, which means truth, reality, actuality, fact. By extension, then can also be proper, right, correct, official, technically, by the sense of proper, right, correct, genuine, authentic, and so on. So the fundamental meaning would be truth or reality. More often than not, well, in this case, actually, in that sense, technically, I'd say actually, in reality, then it would become by adapting it. But yeah, more often than not, you see it actually with an e. Or actually all implied, yeah, as an adverb, truly, really, so on. But yeah, here we then have the topic particle. So yeah, as for in actuality, we could say, then we have nanika, from nani, an interrogative pronoun which means what. By adding ka, the interrogative particle, we get the corresponding some word, so something. Yeah, unsurprising that we had the interrogative particle for that usage when you consider that technically there's some words with some before them mean an unspecified thing. In our case, something is an unspecified thing, actually better, things. Yeah, so that the accent of Nani is on the Na, and still also for Nanika. Then we have Ochitetari from Ochiru, which means to fall, to drop. Several other extended meanings, but yeah, the fundamental one is to fall, to drop. Accented, Ochiru. So, we have, it's a root verb, it's some verb, so we can simply drop the root to add it and make the continuity form and then add te. The form, in this case to add, technically Iru can be seen because of the contraction, but can be seen the conjugation of it because we drop the E. Iru, root verb, it's some verb, so to make the ta form, we simply drop the ru, add ta, drop the ru to make the continuity form, to then add ta to make the ta form. In this case, not on its own, because then we add the ri. And yeah, this tari is actually, strictly speaking, would be a continuity form. Notice the E at the end. Of would be what is the ta form. But yeah, nowadays we only use then the ta usually, except for this and another expression. But this would be the conjugation of that in classical Japanese. But yeah, it's worth mentioning that it's technically a continuity form because its fundamental meaning is ing, either in and ing, for example, coming and going, two actions that alternate, often opposite actions, so coming and going, for example, as mentioned in the dictionary. The most common usage, however, is simply doing such things as, and then yeah, if you said doing such things as, then you'd also use the ing form for those verbs following. In this case, doing such things as falling. Well, not exact. It's actually more sophisticated in a second. We'll see. But yeah, so the most common usage of tari is actually used for non-exhaustive, technically, lists of actions, of verbs. And after it, we would actually use, and by the way, also because of that, it's worth considering that tari is actually a continuative form, and so can also be the corresponding noun of those verbs, because then we add suru, literally to do, and yeah, doing, the doing, literally, in this case, to do such things as falling, and so on. But yeah, I was saying that, yeah, te iru originally, then contracted, we can see the E. So actually, again, continuing action or state. In this case, actually, state technically. But yeah, so the translation is, in actuality, in fact, even places, spots that aren't visible, or however you want to translate that, mienai, even in implied spots that are invisible, things, some things have fallen, of course, to the ground, and so on. So yeah, this tip actually is quite important because it mentions here about the invisible items. But yeah, and then actually says this. Saki Otoshimo no Shitanda. Actually, it should stop there. Not sure why they don't use a period even there. But yeah, first we have Saki, which is actually an expression. We have seen usually Saki. It's related to that. Saki on its own, an accent means physically, so most likely its original meaning, point, tip, end. By extension, more often than not, then it can also be front, head, also of a line, for example. More often than not, then a head of, or a head as in beyond. Also for the future, actually. Then this Saki is actually related. I can't find the accent. I think we have seen it before, but I'll check it quick. I'll get the physical dictionary. But first, let me mention that actually I think that this Saki nowadays use kind of alone and like Saki to avoid also confusion, because you couldn't tell otherwise, apart from the context. I think it's actually supposed to be a contraction in a way of Saki Hodo. Hodo as a particle would mean, well, or strictly speaking, is actually a noun. Which means extent, degree, measure, then used like limit, bounds, and so on. But yeah, used for extent, degree of something. Well, this expression, Saki Hodo, an accent, so yeah, makes sense considering the accent of both, means a short while ago, a moment ago, just now, some time ago. And unsurprisingly, those are actually practically the same meanings of Saki. So I think it's Saki is actually a contraction of that, or at least related. But yeah, let me take the physical dictionary to check the accent of Saki. I seem to recall that we have seen a Saki before. I don't remember for I'm not completely sure about its accent, so we want to check that. And I'm pretty sure I actually haven't mentioned before the matter of it, its relation to Saki Hodo. So yeah, it was worth mentioning it again, even just for that. Other than, of course, checking out again the accent here. Yeah, I have to go then here. Okay, yeah, I suspected it. It actually becomes this one accented on the sa. So yeah, Saki on the first mora. So yeah, be careful. Unlike Saki or Saki Hodo, this one is Saki. The other ones are unaccented. But yeah, of course, yeah, Saki is more casual technically. Yeah, Saki Hodo is the full regular expression. Then we have Otoshimo no, which actually is related to the Ochiru we have seen just a moment ago, because the otoshi actually comes from otosu, so should actually be also accented. Let me quickly see. Let me check. Yes, it is otosu. To drop. So we have seen actually another couple of verbs. Otosu, the transitive. Otsiru, the intransitive. Kind of weird compared to other ones, but yeah, still clearly related. They also straight up use the same kanji. And also notice the start that is the same. But yeah, to drop other similar extended meanings, but yeah. Accented verb. First we can verb colon verb, so yeah, we can change the u into e to make the corresponding, the continuative form and also the corresponding noun. Here also used straight up to make the compound. Otoshi on its own accented on the last more, and so following the rule. Dropping. Let me actually see. Dropping, losing, other various meanings. And then here we had mono, again thing, we studied the kanji of that. Be careful, the accent becomes an accent. Yeah, another compound noun of strictly Japanese origin that becomes an accented. And yeah, we have seen that there are some of those, so yeah, be careful. So I literally dropped the thing. Cioè, a lost property, something dropped and left behind. Or can technically be simply the verb. Well, the verb, the noun, as in dropping something without realizing, losing something. But yeah, here clearly simply as dropped items. Here, funny enough, then we have the verb suru in its ta form, shita, cioè I did literally. So actually in this case would be better as in the dropping something, did dropping something, losing something. So yeah, dropped, lost something. Last but not least, then we have the nda, again usually a contraction of the expression noda. No, the nominalizer for verbs, technically also adjectives, thing as in fact, da the copula in plain speech. So yeah, it is that, the fact is that, the explanation is that, and so on. We have seen this expression a lot, but unsurprisingly because it's actually quite used in Japanese. So here it says, first and foremost, that a moment ago, or just now, will also be, it is that I've dropped an item. I did literally, again, the dropping of something. And then it says, Kimi mo sagashite mite kureru. Yeah, first and foremost we have kimi again, you, singular. Mo, the inclusive particle, also, even. Then we have sagashite, from sagasu, I think an accent, we have seen it before. To search for, to look for. Well, I'd say the fundamental meaning to search, as in to search for or to search a house and so on, a pocket. The accent should be an accent, as mentioned. Yes, it is. Verb, god and verb. Luckily it's in su, so yeah, the easiest we literally straight up change the u into e to make the continuative form and then attach the without changes. the E becomes barely heard if at all because it's then between voice consonants. So sagacity. By the way, you might have heard of it before because it's also in the title of a manga or anime series, Full Moon or Sagacity, with also the songs in that in the anime in that case. But yeah, the form of the verb in this case required because we had the verb miru, we have seen on its own to see, to look at, to watch. After that, the form of a verb, it has a literal meaning to the action of the verb and look implied at the result. So it actually becomes try to do the action of the verb in te. Funny enough, then miru, verb with some verb, we make it also its te form, drop the ru, make the continuative form, and then simply attach the te. In this case, required because then we had kureru, unaccented, we've seen it before. Verb of giving. This one means to give, as in someone else gives to the speaker or someone close to the speaker. So yeah, the receiver is the speaker or someone close to the speaker. Drink some water. But yeah, verb of giving. So after that, the form of a verb, it actually becomes, it gives the meaning to do the favor of doing the action of the verb in te. So figuratively giving as a favor the action of the verb in te. So yeah, because of that, and then here we simply have the question mark, so actually the rising intonation to make the question, and so actually the request. I can incidentally mention that another way to make requests, and actually a more polite way to do so, polite quote unquote, because technically you could make it here also in plain speech, is to make the verb in the negative. So would be something if we had here in plain speech kurenai, kureru, ru verb is some verb, so we simply drop the ru to make the negative form, to then attach nai to make the actual negative. Want you do me the favor of doing the action of the verb in te, and so on. So yeah, it's actually a more polite, technical, but yeah, again, not in the sense of a less direct. That's the best way to put it. And yeah, you can see it why, because you pass from the negative and in the meaning want you. Similar to English, instead of straight up saying do me the favor, or but yeah, I wanted to incidentally mention that because actually that's quite important in actual when you want to speak in Japanese. Of course you want to be less direct, and so yeah, more polite. In that case, also straight up by using polite speech, but yeah, we'll see it in practice when it shows up in games again. But yeah, wanted to incidentally mention it. The translation is also you, will you do me the favor of trying to search for it. Cioè, will you try to search for it? Will you also try to search for it? Oh yeah. So actually, I think around here there should be... I'm trying it. Maybe it's not the best thing to do, considering we are in the middle of the grass. But yeah, let's actually get rid of that. Okay. Thought I saw a message by Kinorashi, but it disappeared. But yeah. Yeah, honestly, it's not worth trying it, so let's ignore it. Honestly, I'm forgetting if it actually is here because, but yeah, we might check it out another time when we actually have the tools to properly find it without going completely at random. And yeah, we'll check this. This sign, it says Tokiwa no Mori. Then the dots in the middle, Deguchi. And then it actually continues, but first let's translate this. Tokiwa no Mori, the usual Viridian Forest, Mori on its own forest, unaccented. The dots to then connect it in a way. And then it says Deguchi. We've actually seen it straight up, I think, the kanji in Super Mario World, and it was the occasion in which we studied the kanji of Deru. Yeah, compound noun. Accent on the first mora, this one. So actually, this one follows the accent of compound nouns. In this case, the last mora of the first word part of the compound. Yeah, from Deru to exit. Gucci, notice the voicing of, because regularly it would be Kuchi, which means mouth, unaccented. Then by extension, opening, so in our case, exiting, opening, exit. Then it says Konosaki, Nibisti. Yeah, we have Konosaki, head of here, literally this head, because yeah, Kono, this, followed by a noun, Saki, we've already seen, and then Nibishiti, which is the Japanese name of Pewter City, which we'll check out another time. Oh yeah, with that, of course we would then find another wild Pokémon right before this. And we'll flee here. And yeah, so we actually got here to the end of this. I'll actually quickly show. We'll tackle these parts the next time. Yeah, as you might have noticed on the top left corner, we are still in Route 2 here, so it's actually the upper part. And here we have Pewter City. But yeah, I wanted to quickly heal our Pokemon. But yeah, so we have actually exited Viridian Forest. Okay, so... but I'll actually go back to not forget it for next time, even though I of course we should remember, but let's still be sure. I wanted to heal there before. I'll actually save here the game. So yeah, we'll first and foremost check what these NPCs have to say. We might check out at least a couple of wild Pokemon on Route 2, that other part there, but yeah, we have the NPCs and we might straight up actually start Pewter City. Oh yeah, let's save. Yeah, perfect. Oh yeah, so we can close the game. And yeah, so today we've actually finished Viridian Forest, and yeah, I expected it based on what we had done before. But yeah, practically all the time was required to do that. We had several things to check, all the remaining trainers to beat. But we got a preview of what's ahead between the signs and also this final part too, because I wanted to hear, yeah, at the end of Viridian Forest there's the upper part of Route 2 and immediately above it Pewter City. So yeah, next time, which for this series should be on Let's Play Exchange on Friday as usual, we'll talk to the NPCs immediately outside in the gate. Those are technically called gates. Immediately outside of the forest. Might check some Pokemon in Route 2, but honestly, we might also avoid that. Because I would like to start also Pewter City, and then yeah, there's all the things that inside there to all the NPCs to talk, all the things to see. There are literally some sightseeing. Also the name, we finally talk about its origin, its location in the real world, and so on. But yeah, so those are our plans. Of course, in the middle we'll have Let's Play Exchange, also a stream on Wednesday, where we play our other current Let's Learn Japanese with series, which is Super Mario Bros. 2, as in Super Mario USA, the international one, in its Super Mario Advanced form. Oh yeah. Okay. By the way, hello, konnichiwa, Kinorashi. Oh yeah, we started. Not sure if you are talking about us here in general, or if you were also doing it before coming here. But yeah, of course, here is the purpose of this Let's Learn Japanese with series, playing the games and study the Japanese based on that. But yeah, as mentioned, yeah, on Wednesday for Super Mario Advance, on Friday for more Pokémon FireRed. Oh yeah. See you next time.